This is the Clark Connection Podcast, where 12 years of coaching championships meets real-world leadership. Coach Clark broke through at the highest levels. Now he's bringing you the playbook. Every week, real leaders, real wins. Real strategies you can use Monday morning. If you're done with theory and ready for results, this is your show. You in? Let's go!
And welcome back to Ask the Coach Live. I'm your host, Aaron Clark, a.k.a. The Coach. And man, have we got a good one today, guys, that we are going to be talking about the difference between cancer and diabetes in your organization. Okay, so it's going to be a really good one. Hang on with me, though, because I do have a few things that I do want to share with you guys. Lots of great stuff coming down. I had to switch computers at the last minute, so I don't have everything up that I'm looking for that I want to be able to share with you. But if you are following me on social medias at Coach Clark Leadership, that you will have seen me post about a couple of these things. First thing is the Coach's Table Leadership Breakfast. All right. Coach's Table Leadership Breakfast. It's going to be happening July 21st. So that's next Tuesday, July 21st at 7:30 a.m. At the 225 Trade Building on O'Neill Lane. So if you're in the Baton Rouge area, you definitely want to get signed up for that. The link is somewhere on all the different social media platforms that I have. I was going to drop the link in the chat for you, but I couldn't get logged in. So it's telling me I need to do a couple of different things on here to get myself logged into this account. So it's just not going to happen right this second. But it is, if you go to Facebook, if you go to Instagram, LinkedIn, it's all over that. You can find it right there. So if you just search Coach Clark Leadership, it will pop up there for you. I'm trying to get logged in, see if I can find it on Facebook. If not, guys, it's okay. Just look in there. It's there. It's easy to find at Coach Clark Leadership. Next, we will be having a Developing the Leader Within You mastermind. So, the Developing the Leader Within You mastermind, it is going to be starting in August, okay? And again, because I had to switch computers, the other one didn't work, so I don't have anything up, no notes. We're just kind of like rolling through it right now. I'm trying to make this happen right now as we talk live. So, forgive me for that, but it is, I believe it starts August the 11th. August the 11th, I believe, is when we are going to have the Developing the Leader Within You mastermind. Okay, so check it out. Again, it's all over social media. If you go and look on any of them, and look, I'll drop it in the chat right here. So if you go find me on any of those socials, there it is on that one. I'll pop it in here. I don't even know if I can put it in this one. Can I drop in anything in the chat on Instagram, Facebook, or what is this? TikTok. No, it's not going to let me drop anything live in here. So if you are if you're on TikTok, just go to my page. It'll take you to Instagram or whatever. It's right there. And so, look, you can find me. There's all of my information. That's the quickest way to find it is at Coach Clark Leadership. Okay. I just saw it got posted on the TikTok account, so it'll be coming up on YouTube in just a minute. Next, so you're going to get the leadership table link. It's going to be in there. Then we're going to have the why did that get all close on me? And so, leadership breakfast, the mastermind, and then one that I'm proud to go ahead and announce. So, those of you who are here, you're one of the first ones that are getting to hear this. So, here is the sample of my new book. You're here now. What? The 5 biggest mistakes that new leaders make. It is, if you want to get a jump start on it, the ebook is available on Amazon. If you just search for "You're Here Now What," it's available on Amazon. You can get your e-copy. That if you do that upload or buy the real copy, I will be sending you an autographed copy with a personalized message in there. So you want to make sure you get that. And I talk about it too, that it's the 5 biggest mistakes that's also us not so leaders make. I mean, look, this right here, this live stream right now is all the shows that anything that you do in leadership, what can go wrong will go wrong. Because like I said, my other laptop stopped working. So I'm back and forth. I'm trying to get stuff up, get it posted, get it going. And it ain't happening like I wanted it to. That's leadership. It's not going to be perfect, guys. Leadership is not perfect. It's just not. But as we're coming across those, that I will be popping those different links in the chat. So those of y'all that are watching on YouTube, I'm going to show it one more time. If you go to at Coach Clark Leadership, you will find that all that information. If you go, especially on our Facebook page at Coach Clark Leadership, you'll find the information about the breakfast. You'll find the information about the mastermind. And that this is not on there yet, that because I have not been pushing it live, that it is available though. You're here now. What? I mean, it's going to be a New York Times bestseller. You know, it's gonna be a bestseller. Make sure you go get your copy. It's not a very, very long read, and it's more like, you know, my editor told me they felt like they were just sitting down and having a conversation instead of reading about learning material. Okay, and so what you guys are here for though is the topic that I'm wanting to talk about that on the live stream today, which is diabetes versus cancer. Now, this is about the employees that will make or break your culture, okay? And so I want to go here in first, that as a leader, I'm sure you've come across a difficult employee or 7. Not everyone should be fired, but not every one of those difficult employees should be kept, okay? So I want to say that right there. But the question is, what are you doing with it? How are you dealing with that difficult employee, that difficult person that's making your life just miserable, okay? What are you doing to help that? Now, I want to say this. It's important to know that at some point in time, we all become that difficult employee. We all become that sick person in the office, okay? Because like I said, I'm going to be talking about and comparing it between 2 illnesses, diabetes and cancer, okay? Now, I'm not saying that a person actually is diabetes or is cancer. I'm talking about their behavior, their attitude, okay? It's just how I use it to go through and describe, okay? And so just so we're clear on what I'm talking about, diabetes. It affects how the body processes sugar, all right? You'll notice things. You'll be a little sluggish. You'll be a little slow. Your body just needs a little bit of insulin. And so when you start noticing the problems going wrong, you get a little bit of insulin, boom, the body, it shapes back up, okay? This is the same thing when we're looking at, you know, when I'm comparing the difference between diabetes and cancer with your employees, with the people you're working with. Somebody who has what I like to call diabetes, they have a little problem. They might have a little attitude. They may show up late to work. It could be all sorts of different things. Okay, it's not always just a one size fits all thing. But when it's corrected, when it's addressed, when you hold them accountable for these things, you'll notice that it gets fixed. Okay, they respond, they improve. Think you the other term that you hear is they're coachable. We used to talk about this all the time whenever I was coaching athletics, and the worst thing that you could be in life was to be uncoachable. Now, that would be one of the first questions that recruiters would ask us. Like, how coachable is he? How coachable is she? Because they were wanting to know, hey, we're about to drop thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars on this young person. Are they coachable? Are they somebody that we can correct and that's not going to fall apart? Okay. And so that's just kind of a quick little brief on what I mean when I say somebody is diabetes. Now, cancer. Now, we are all familiar with this, okay? It's when we've all had a loved one who's gone through this, and so this is not to be taken lightly. But cancer, if it happens, it happens when the cells become abnormal. Sometimes they multiply uncontrollably. Sometimes it just does weird things. But whenever you get cancer, if it's left untreated, that it really starts to spread. And a lot of times with cancer, you have to go remove it. You have to get in there and cut that out so it stops the spread. Now, an employee, when we're talking about their attitude, their personality being like cancer, they spread dysfunction. You coach them, but instead of responding positively, they respond negatively. They don't do what you're asking them to do. The more you correct them, the more negative they become, and then they start to recruit other people, and then the next thing you know, they're trying to do this and that and that and that. And guys, if there's a person in your organization that you are in charge of and you can control this, that you have to get it out and you have to remove it. Okay. So signs that you're dealing with somebody who has that cancerous attitude, that cancerous, that personality. They reject accountability. They blame everyone else, create gossip, drama, that they're constantly undermining leadership, refusing to be coached. They divide the team, and it can get worse after correction. Now, this is not always easy to figure out, okay? As a former corporate director, that sometimes you may not be able to distinguish who is cancer, who is diabetes. You may not even notice who the problem is, okay? And that happened to me while I was in that corporate role. One of our locations was struggling, and it just didn't seem like, no matter who we talked to, what we did, what we were implementing, it just wasn't going right. Okay, it was just one of those situations that the more that you kept trying to, and we kept going, so it ended up we had a couple of people leave. We had some that we promoted to other companies, but the problem just never seemed to just resolve itself. Well, when I started looking at it, our highest performer, I started to notice that, hey, people are changing in and out, things are going on. This person's the problem. Like, every single person that gets around this single person, that becomes negative, they refuse to be held accountable, they don't want to do what we're trying to do. And so that we started having to what's the word? I had to start creating performance plans. I had to start having meetings when I would catch them doing things. I had to make sure that I was clear on what I was communicating, how I was getting them to do stuff, and then document. Okay. One of the ways to test, hey, if I clone this employee 10 times, ask this question: would my organization become stronger or would it fall apart? And your answer to this usually reveals what type of person they are with this. If I could have 10 more of Coach Clark's, my organization would be phenomenal. Or would it be, hey, if I had 10 of Coach Clark's, good night. I don't know that I would want to do that. I don't know that I would want 10 of Coach Clark's. That's one I joke about all the time. Hey, I'm doing great. Any better than I'd be twins, and then I couldn't stand myself. They're joking around. But if you do find yourself in that, ask yourself that question about that person. Do I see them? If I multiply them, would they make it better? And, so when do you remove them? Okay. This is when you have to determine, is it a skill problem or is it an attitude problem? Is it a skill problem or a culture problem? That you have to, as the leader, determine this. And it's not always easy. So if you find the issue, you correct the issue, you set the standard, and they keep doing it, well, now you're dealing with a character flaw. You're dealing with a character trait. And at some point, if you keep doing this and you document what you're doing, at some point, it's no longer worth it, okay? You have to do everything you can to protect your culture. The culture of your team is way more important than your highest performer, your best widget maker, fill in the blank. There is no one person that is greater than the team. I was reading and I literally just finished it today, Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink and Lee Fryen. If you hadn't read Extreme Ownership, I highly recommend it. But they were talking about how one of the companies that they were working with, they noticed, and as they were talking to the other senior level managers, all the senior level managers just kept saying, "We don't understand how this one department is still here. We don't get it. We don't understand. It's losing money. It's bleeding out. It's bleeding out." And so when they go and talk to the CEO about it, the CEO was trying to protect one person because of loyalty and friendship. And so now, am I saying loyalty is a bad thing? Absolutely not. But you can't do it at the expense of your company. You can't do it at the expense of your culture. Now, what they did do, because everybody did like that person who was in charge of that division, is once they came in and talked, the CEO talked to the other senior leader, and they found a new role for that person. So that would be an example of diabetes. They just came in, they gave it a shot, fixed it, all went back to normal. Another example they had, that was that company that they were working with. They had two employees that just could not get along. They had these two employees, no matter what they did, they just fought and they were blaming. I mean, it became person A was blaming person B and so on and so forth, that it got to the point they were like, if you don't fire person A, I'm going to quit. And if you don't fire person B, I'm going to quit. And let me tell you what they were doing. They had to get rid of both of them. Because those two people, whenever they started showing them all the evidence, here's what we're doing, here's how we're trying to correct it, this is how these things are going, and it wasn't getting any better, well, that's when you have an attitude problem. That's when you have a character problem, and it's not ever going to get better. So you have to remove that from the situation. Within 2 short months, the company, the team, the culture, that was thriving, and they were producing some of their best numbers. And that's the same thing that happened to me when I started off with my example, telling you the top producer, that was the one that I figured out was the one that was causing trouble, that was undermining leadership, that was doing everything to undermine and keep everybody else down so they would be number one. But whenever you do that, and it changes everything, guys. And so you can't protect one person. Like when you become the leader, you give up the right to think about yourself. You don't get to think about yourself. That you can't put one person above the team. It's important to remember, we is bigger and greater than me. So you have to, at all times, protect that culture and do what's best for the team, even if it hurts. Now, here's the thing. Most of the time, they know it's coming. Because if you're doing what you're supposed to as a leader and you're holding them accountable and you're setting the standards and you're doing all of these things that you're supposed to, leading them in the right direction, they refocusing them, giving them clear boundaries, giving them clear expectations, they know it's coming. That because at some point, it's no longer a skill problem. It's an attitude problem. Okay. And that one person can ruin your entire culture. It can undo months and years of work that you've done to build up your team. Don't keep somebody on your staff that's a cancerous attitude, that's going to spread the negativity, that's going to constantly undermine you. And you'll know that they're not coachable. And if you're not sure, man, look, feel free to hit me up. I would love to be able to help you distinguish this. So, I mean, that sometimes it's just coaching. They just need more training. But when it's repeated, it's an attitude problem. It's no longer that just a talent problem, okay? And so keep this in mind. I put this down, the 3 C's for this. First, coach them. Whenever you have somebody new on your team, coach them. Show them exactly what's expected. Then when they don't do it, correct them. And then reintroduce that standard, okay? So you're going to coach them, you're going to correct them, and if they just can't get it done, you got to cut ties, okay? So look at it that way. Who on your team needs coaching? Who needs another opportunity? Who has shown that they're willing to grow? And then protect that. And I didn't check. I do want to quickly remind everybody that the leadership breakfast, I know if you're on TikTok, it was put in the chat. I couldn't steal it off of there to put it on the chat for those of you in YouTube that are on YouTube. Like I said, I had to get on a different computer, so I'm on a different laptop than what I was literally 5 minutes before we went live. So resetting up, restructuring everything. And I think that's a beautiful thing, guys. And it's going to happen to you as the leader. But that leadership breakfast, that we're going to be talking about confidence. That is going to be our theme for this breakfast. And then we're going to move it the next month to a new location. So make sure that you're following us on social medias. And I'm going to put it back up on the screen again, at Coach Clark Leadership. You'll find all of it, especially on the Facebook page. I know it's there. Facebook and LinkedIn, it is there. Go find that link for the Coach's Table Leadership Breakfast. Also, make sure you get signed up for the Developing the Leader Within You Mastermind. You've seen a couple of them. We even had one of the funny ones with the people that climbed the Empire State Building, and they had the flag and the proposal like, hey, would you please join me for the coach's breakfast? Or not the breakfast, the mastermind. And guys, it's $50 a week. For you to grow. That this is going to be the least expensive it's ever going to be. You're not going to find it for less money than this ever again. That's $50 a week. $50 a week. That's way less than what I charge for 1 hour of coaching. And you're going to get 90 minutes with a group of other leaders who are looking to grow and expand their influence, who are trying to figure out how to prioritize, who are wanting to figure out how to implement change. It's going to be all in there. And you'll come because you're wanting to learn about leadership, but you're going to keep coming back because of the relationships you're going to develop. And the cool thing is, it's going to be just like we are right now. It's on Zoom. That you don't even have to leave your house. That you could be like me right now in athletic shorts. Nobody knows. If I didn't tell you that, you'd be like, man, he's in that nice polo, all the nice looking get up. Nah, you can be in shorts. You could be in your pajama bottoms. I mean, I don't care what you wear as long as we're clothed from the neck up and don't stand up, right? So make sure you do that. And then lastly, it is on Amazon, but we will put it out. Go buy your copy of You're Here Now What? The 5 biggest mistakes that new leaders make. And some of us not so new leaders. Hey, you're gonna, guys. It's a simple, quick read, and I promise you that once you get into it, now, I mean, I even impressed me with how well it turned out. So get your copy of the book, and if you've got questions, put them in the chat. Make sure that when we do this live stream, you put your questions in the chat so we can answer them here. Because that's what we're here for with Ask the Coach, with Coach Clark Leadership, is we want to help you to develop as a leader. So make sure that you get those questions in. You can literally drop them right there, put them in the comments, and we'll answer them. I'll check. I hadn't really been checking the live stream or the chats real quick before I hop off. I don't see any on there. But I don't really see any on here. Does anybody, if you've got a question, please throw it in the chat. It'll pop it up and make it to where I can quickly and easily see it. If not, hey, we're going to log off and I'll put it back on here again. You can find all that information I was talking about at Coach Clark Leadership. Okay, at Coach Clark Leadership. So we'll go ahead and end it like we always do, guys. So remember, you don't have to be great to get started, but you have to get started to be great. So keep leading, keep learning, keep asking questions, and I'll see you on the next episode of Ask the Coach. Night, everybody.